Welcome to Unit 6, Lesson 8, Lewis dot diagrams. The Lewis dot diagrams, or otherwise known as the electron dot diagrams, will only show the valence electrons. The valence electrons are the outermost shell of an atom that contain electrons that will do the bonding. Valence electrons that occupy the valence shell are the last number in the electron configuration. So if you would happen to look at your periodic table that you have been provided, you would notice that the electron configuration is written out, and the last number written, it will indicate how many valence electrons. So these are the steps for drawing the electron dot configurations. First, you will draw the element symbol. You will locate the valence electrons number, which is the last number of the electron configuration. Pair the first two electrons, they deal out any remaining one at a time to the other three sides. And in other words, we typically go 1, 2, 3, 4, then we start pairing 5, 6, 7, 8. So for example, to draw the dot diagram for carbon, we notice here that carbon has 4 electrons. We will place one up top, one on the other side, one at the bottom, and one on the other side. This would indicate that carbon likes to form a total of 4 bonds. The electron dot diagram for sodium, sodium has just one valence electron, and that would be represented with one dot. Therefore, sodium likes to only have one bond, or likes to get rid of its one electron. Fluorine has a total of 7 valence electrons, and we would place them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So fluorine has one extra place for an additional electron. So the basic rules is you would draw brackets around the element symbol. And with this, we would be indicating we have ions. And ions are atoms that have a charge, either positive or negative. We would write the charge of the ion outside the bracket on top at the right-hand corner. Positive ions would have no dots. Negative ions could have 8 dots. For example, potassium plus 1, when there is no number written, we will assume 1, basically means that potassium had one electron in its outermost orbit, and it has decided to give it away to another element, therefore having a +1 charge. Sulfur will add 2 additional electrons to the 6 that sulfur would normally have in its valence shell. And to indicate that we now have an ion, we would use our brackets and indicate a -2 charge, indicating we have 2 more negative electrons than sulfur would typically have. So we will now practice doing the dot diagram for magnesium +2. Here's the dot diagram for oxygen -2. You'll notice that when oxygen has a -2 charge, it has a total of 8 electrons. So let's check your understanding. If we were to draw the Lewis dot diagram for the following atom, nitrogen, we would need to find out how many valence electrons nitrogen would have. If you would look at your periodic table, you would notice that nitrogen would have a total of 5 valence electrons, and we would place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, for an ion, we would have N with brackets, and we would then place an additional 3 electrons. We would then have 2 on the top, 2 on each side, and 1 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would then indicate that nitrogen now has 8 electrons.